What's your this I quit story? I was fractured my orbital socket in an industrial accident. Another employee lost focus at the wrong time, was supposed to wait for a hand signal and didn't. We had been working over 90 days straight of 13 to 14-hour shifts and living in crappy motel a 45 minutes drive from out worksite. We were supposed to be on a rotation where we didn't work more than 3 weeks at a time. It was a close call and could have been a lot worse. I'm glad I saw it coming and had time to at least try and get out of the way. I got sent away after a night in the ER while the rest of that crew continued to work. After spending 2 or 3 days at home, the boss called to say that he needed me in Alaska in 2 days and that my flight was already booked. I told him I quit right on the spot. Worked at a Spencer's Gifts for a bit during uni. I was working and saw that I was scheduled for an evening shift the day before a morning exam. So I asked the manager if I could switch. She said no. The schedule is already made up. Went back and forth trying to negotiate with her. She ended with, "You're going to have to decide what's more important. The shift or your exam." My father's story. He was a 22-year-old millwright and he had been working for the company for 4 years. He asked for a raise because one was given to a coworker who had the same job. He was told that his coworker has kids and a family to provide for, and that's why he was given a raise. And since my dad had no children at that time, he didn't need one. My dad applied for a job that paid almost twice as much with great benefits. He gave in his notice and the manager said, "Will you stay if we give you the raise you wanted?" He declined and worked for the second company for 35 years and retired last December. Smiley face. Joined a call center with the obvious shady pay structure. They said the calls are inbound, so I thought, hey, that's not too bad then. Turns out the inbound calls were generated by their robocall system, indirectly implying that they were Google but never saying so, and we were directed to use some dubious answer if someone asked, "Are you Google?" After getting yelled at and cussed out and constantly getting people who had been called many times before and were clearly irate. I just got up and left in the middle of the day. I also complained to Google that these guys were pretending to be Google. And these guys were scared of getting complaints like that. Seriously up people. My first job was at a fast food restaurant. I only lasted about 3 months. The manager was sleazy. The employees were straight up lazy. I had to mop up one day. There was an area in the kitchen where you kinda have to lean forward so you can slide the mop under a counter. The manager decided to come out of the office and just stand behind me and watch. I looked at him and asked, "Is there something wrong?" He said no, but just wanted to make sure I cleaned correctly. Right. Because there was no worry about how well I cleaned the rest of the kitchen. But now that I'm bending over I immediately stopped and walked out. I was a truck driver working a regional route that required me working nights. So basically I would drive all through the night, deliver a load, sleep through the day, and take a load back to my original place the next night. The thing is, sleeping during the day at a warehouse where yard dogs, the guys that moved trailers around the lot of the warehouse with little tractor deals, were constantly moving around, knocking into my truck, and oftentimes literally waking me up to move my truck. I was barely getting any sleep, and the only time I had to ever get a good night's rest was during the weekend. So driving to my first delivery, I told my manager I'm taking an extra day off because I'm exhausted and I have to get a few days of sleep. I was literally getting maybe 3 to 4 hours of solid sleep a day, and energy drinks were worthless at this point. They gave me the go-ahead. I dropped my delivery, slept as best as I could at the warehouse, and picked up the load to take back with a message from my managers telling me to have a good weekend and rest up. When I was about an hour and a half away from my destination, after driving all night for about 8 hours reaching pure exhaustion, I get a message saying, "Never mind, we need you to work this weekend, mind you. I know this stuff happens and you sometimes have to pick up the slack of other employees at times. Things happen. I get it, and 99% of the time I'm all for helping out other employees and my managers if they need it. But this was about the 3rd time this happened. I haven't had a good night's sleep in 3 weeks at this point, and I kept trying to call my managers or anyone who would answer me. But it was the weekend and no one would respond to their messages or phone calls. I was literally being ignored and I just snapped. Luckily, the demand for truckers is massive. I mean, I get texts non-stop asking if I'm in the market because a company needs drivers. I haven't even been in the industry for 2 years currently, and my phone still gets blown up with calls and texts asking if I want to drive again. So literally all I did was call one of the numbers that would contact me constantly and immediately was hired after 5 minutes of talking on the phone. Sent in a message saying I quit and good luck. Funny enough, then they started responding to my messages and tried calling me. I know it was probably a move to them over, and I normally would never do that. But I just broke and could not take it anymore.